Hey everyone, happy Thursday. It's time to do our second UX Design Contest 16 stream. Again, I've got that up here, up through the link in chat as well. And let's dive in and pick up where we left off. So, it's all about reimagining this recipe ingredient substitution experience, right? We've got this little animation showing the current one. Problem is low engagement, like might not be attractive. People might not understand they can even use it. So what can we do to explore some different concepts of this experience? Last week, I had been using Whimsical, this kind of wireframing tool to kind of capture some ideas, explored some, other types of selection or swapping experiences, and tried to think about applying those to this recipe. Where I left off was switching over to a design tool because I kind of hit the limits of what I could do with the wireframe tool. Although this is kind of interesting. Actually, I want to capture this. Because I had this interesting idea of getting people to invest and add their own ingredients that might not even be listed as a way to really increase engagement and blow things up. So let me organize my windows here so I can switch between them easily. Excellent. And tonight, really, the focus is going to be take some of these initial ideas that I have. They might not be the most amazing ideas. That's okay. It's really about quantity over quality right now. We're really just looking to have a bunch of broad ideas. And then once I have some of these ideas, though, I do want to start getting some data to help me understand which direction makes more sense. So a couple things, right? We're thinking about increasing engagement. So I want to make sure people know that things are clickable and that they can swap ingredients. I want people to like the experience as well. So let's take a look at how we can use some tools like Usability Hub to get some feedback on some of those aspects really quickly. So real quick, I'm going to go over some of just the ideas that I have here. Again, I haven't had much time to work on this, so I just have some fairly simple ideas. I've got big ideas in my head. Unfortunately, not enough bandwidth to make them reality. I think a cool one in my head, if anyone is looking for ideas to explore, is an idea around not only having some suggested things that are likely to be delicious or work really well in a recipe, but the ability to add in as an individual. You may have some special taste. You may see a list of ingredients in the recipe and think, well, maybe I don't have this stuff at home, or I'm a real big fan of this ingredient or that ingredient. I want to add it to this recipe. You could really explore how someone could input their own information and really make the recipe special and personalized, which I think could be really cool, and sharing it, especially if you have things like the title dynamically changing. Anyhow, high level, what are the ideas that I have here? I've got these big these big select element buttons. I just pulled the icons. I really think photographs will be so great here. I don't know what the resources are at Plant Jammer to get photographs of things. I was trying to look for public databases on like grocery items. Didn't see anything in a short search. But yeah, I think these icons are going to be really hard to scale, and they're less appealing and dynamic as photographs. But because I'm trying to work quickly, I just use the same icons. So the idea is that it'll be like hover state, and then you can pick from the different options. So that's one idea that I have there. You'll also see I tried pulling in like some other ideas Even as I'm thinking about focusing on this ingredient selection experience, I'm looking at like, can we have reviews? You know, is this a way to evaluate things? Making sure the serving control is really clear and kind of tightening things up. Right now, the instructions use a lot of icons and space, and to me comes off kind of awkward. I wonder if there are short just text strings that we can make to make instructions really simple, so this recipe also feels super easy. So that's idea one. Idea two, I'd say this is the most similar to what they have right now. I'm going to try to, I think I have, yeah, let me pull this over. So right now, what they have is a vertical list of ingredients in the recipe. This one happens to be expanded. I guess it's kind of odd because it's hard to tell that it's expanded. These aren't really like sub items. It appears in the same list. Anywho, there's this icon with these tiny little arrows that mean that you can switch things. And that's basically what I'm playing with here. I guess what's the difference here? I'm putting the number of things and kind of the amount ahead of the items. Maybe these things are bolded. Might be helpful to do scanning. And then I have this little icon, and I really haven't thought much past that. So this is the most similar to the existing one. It's just a little bit different, right? It's no images, just text, just simple. And then I've got this other idea here where I tried to pull in something that I think is just general feedback for Plant Jammer to start thinking about as it's working with companies, if it can include nutritional information. I think that would be really cool. So I'm playing around with that here, as well as having really familiar kind of standard drop downs for the ingredients, and then having the amount or quantity information over on the right. Again, it's a little bit tighter. It helps avoid some of the ping-ponging, eyeball ping-ponging that can happen going back and forth in the current design. So let's just weigh these three ideas. I know I've got tons of more ideas in my head. I don't have time to tackle those. So let's think about how we can test these. I think the first thing I need to do is I need to create one more version of this. And unfortunately, I didn't create this as a component. I don't think I did. Maybe I did. Let's see here. I did create this as a component. Excellent. So let me go to the main component actually. And I'm going to create a variant. I'm going to create that hover state variant really quick before I forget, because I do want to do some prototyping afterwards. And I'm trying to see what style did I use for that. Let's just copy it. Can copy the style. There we go. That'll be, we'll create this as a state. State, default, and hover. There we go. All right. And then I suppose I can do the other ones later. Let me just move this down closer. Okay, so now I should be able to no, I've got overrides. How do I clear the overrides? Reset all overrides. There we go. And actually, that wasn't the place to do it. Here we go. Getting distracted, and there we go. Okay, so really what I want to test is this. We'll save these for prototyping. Let me actually cut these. I set up this Figma doc with some pages. If I have time, I'm going to try to get this out so folks can use this if they want. Hey, Venagu, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Are you working on an entry for this contest? That's maybe my biggest question. So I'm going back to my whiteboard. And then maybe what I'll do, maybe I'll make a page for testing. I'm gonna call it Usability Hub Testing. So that's what I'm going to use as far as the tool goes. So let me put these in here. And let's talk a little bit about, again, what are the goals for this research? I want quick feedback. Let me make this text nice and big. There we go. So it can show up well on the stream. I'm doing pretty well. I had a really good focus day today at work. And I'm looking for another good focus day tomorrow. I feel like I'm knocking off like to-do items for design at the same time as making investments in components and things that'll hopefully make design like super fast as I'm going forward. So was having a lot of fun with that today. Okay. Remember, the goal of these design concepts is to come up with 2 to 3. Oh, it's disappearing off the page. Let's left align it so it won't do that. Come up with 2 to 3 design concepts for improving. Oops, it's also going up. For improving, for increasing, new word, increasing engagement with ingredient substitution. Okay, that's the main goal. That's kind of the main goal of the contest and the entry, right? And then as far as test goal 1, say, make sure people know where to click to swap an ingredient. Okay, that's 1. And then seriously, yeah, the beginning of my week was like interviewing candidates both for design positions. By the way, shout out for our open design position on our team. We're hiring a senior designer. We're also hiring a senior visual designer, a senior product designer, which is UX UI designer, senior visual designer, and also a head of design. Quick plug for that. If anyone listening is interested, check out AngelList Venture. And what is also test goal 2? I want to know which is my space there. Oh, that's interesting. I see Figma has all these little pet peeves that like drive me absolutely nuts, but it has a ton of stuff that I absolutely love. So I have a very very warm, cool relationship with Figma. And I'm trying to use it more because I'm trying to get more productive with it at work. And here's like yet another little pet peeve. I'm typing, and when I type in a space, Figma doesn't actually display it until I type the letter, which is odd to me. Anyways, which, and then I can't really see how many spaces I've got. Look at, because you can put like 7 spaces and you don't even know. Oh my goodness. All right, which concept do people want to use and why? And then I think one of the issues I'm going to have here is I don't have an apples to apples comparison, right? I've got some different information on this one. I have nutritional information, whereas the other ones I don't. So I think for testing, I'm going to have to go ahead and remove this nutritional info section. So let me just duplicate this one so I still have, I think I have it on the other screen as well, but I like copying and like duplicating and cleaning up later, just so I don't have to worry about losing anything. And then let's move these to the center. And then I'm just gonna center align these. Now I believe we have apples to apples. Yes. Ingredients, instructions. Yes. Everything else looks the same. Cool. Now I have apple to apple comparison, which is really important when you're trying to compare designs. You really need to remove any other variables that could possibly be influencing what people are seeing and how they're making decisions. So I guess that's tip number 1. Right. Test goal 2. Let's move this down a little bit. Testing tip 1. Make sure your designs are set up for apples. Apple to apple, maybe just apple to apple. You don't have to test 50 things. Apple to apple comparisons. No confounding variables. Right, this just means that there's no other information. For example, let's say I took an image out of one, right? And it was like, hey, compare these 3 designs. Which do you want to use better? It's possible that people really like this selection experience. They're just like, yeah, most of the time I don't want to change it. So this one's really light. I get this is where I'll click to change something. But they're like, I really like the photo, right? I really like the photo. So that would be a situation where you're adding in this other variable that reduces the cleanliness of your data. So let's go ahead and add that back in. I think I'm actually ready. So make sure people know where to click, and then which concept do people want to use and why. Let's focus on those two, on testing those 2 things right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to export these 3 images, I think. I don't see, Figma doesn't provide me any preview of what I'm exporting. Yet another thing I don't like about it, but okay, it does tell me 3 layers, so there's some confidence there. Great, export these 3 layers. I'm exporting them. I don't know exactly where they're going. Here we go. I'm just going to put them in my downloads. And then off camera, I'm going to be crunching those images so they're as small as possible because I want them to load as quickly as possible. So I'm just putting those into a tool that I like to use called Image Optim. It's a free tool that will crunch images smaller. And then while that's working, let's go ahead and use some magic there and pop over to Usability Hub. So Usability Hub is pretty much my favorite fast design feedback tool that I use outside of working on a team and being able to ping people. Of course, it's always nice. Why? Oh yeah, okay, it's got this captcha thing. Yay, I'm not a robot. It's a fantastic tool, especially for these kinds of contests and things, or where you have your own ideas that you're testing, and you might not be in a situation where you have someone next to you, to the left or right of you, that you can ask for feedback. You can go ahead and come in here. So keeping in mind, the first thing we want to do is make sure that in each of the design concepts, people know where to click to swap ingredients. And there's also this element of what happens when you click on X. So this one's going to be, this test is going to be how to swap ingredients. And I kind of think, do I need to make 3 tests for this, for a click test, or can I swap them out? I think I have to do 3. So I'm going to do 1. This is going to be UX design contest. This is going to be desktop only. And then I'm going to do click test. Where would you click to, and let's say, replace, let's say, bell pepper with, and actually I should go find out what can you replace bell pepper with. It has other color bell peppers. Okay, that's not a good one. Let's do the plum tomato to replace, oh, I think I have cherry tomatoes. Cherry tomatoes are nice as well, but cherry tomatoes are a real thing. To replace cherry tomatoes with sun-dried tomatoes. Where would you click to replace cherry tomatoes with sun-dried tomatoes in the recipe? Okay, no frame. Let's see how those images are cooking up. Looks like they're almost done. Follow-up question. My follow-up question for this, what I like to do for click tests is how confident are you that your click will let you replace cherry tomatoes with something else. Okay, and then I usually don't require these. I find that most people answer them already, and I'm going to do a linear scale here. I'm going to start the value at 1. I'm going to use an odd number so that there's a middle ground. I'm going to end it at 5, and the beginning label I'm going to say not confident at all. And I'm going to have 5 as extremely confident. Maybe I'll just shorten it, 100% confident. Vangoose has something in the chat. You mentioned reducing the variables in your design is helpful. Would you say that the iconography in the first mock could be an extra variable in this case? That's an interesting question. Let me add an image here and finish this first test, and then I'm going to come back to that one. All right, which one is this? All right, this is actually the one we'll start with. I'm picking high DPI. I've uploaded it at 2x, so if someone is on a high density screen, they're going to be able to see things really nicely. And I think we're ready to go. Save and continue. So I'm just going to use, I'll do this audience link first so that I can post it in chat if Venagu or anyone else wants to kick the tires on my test. That's great. I'm also going to test it out. So I always like to test it out first. Okay. Where would you click to replace cherry tomatoes with sun-dried tomatoes in the recipe? It's a little long. Maybe I just put something else. Where would you click to replace cherry tomatoes with something else? Might be a better and simpler question. So that's nice because I can come back here to the build. And it says I'll proceed with caution, whatever. With another ingredient. Okay, and then save and continue. There we go. And I should be able to actually reload the page and see the updated question. There we go. Where would you click to replace cherry tomatoes with another ingredient? Show the image. Okay, I see the image. Where would you click to replace cherry tomatoes? Oops. And I have plum tomato shown. This is a good reason why I'm checking this. I don't actually have cherry tomatoes selected. All right. I've been looking at this recipe so long, I've got like stuff on the brain. All right, so always tip, check and recheck and go through your test. Always do your test yourself or have someone else do it who can give you feedback really quickly on the test itself. Like, are there mistakes with the test? Can this be better? You've seen in just a matter of seconds, I've already caught an issue that could be really confusing and invalidate my test. And then some language stuff. So save and continue. Where would you click to replace plum tomato with another ingredient? And I'm going to go ahead and click here, confirm, click. How confident are you? Oops, this is where my follow-up question I forgot to update. I was like, I thought I just saw a cherry tomato reference. And there it is. There it is. Okay. And actually this question isn't as strong as it can be. It says, how confident are you that your click will let you replace tomato with something else? But it's possible that there are like no other options. Really what I want to know is, how confident are you that your click, well, what did I say? Where would you click to replace plum tomato with another ingredient? How confident are you to replace with another? I guess I can use exactly the same language. I was thinking that I should just talk about something like, how confident are you that you clicked plum tomato, but that doesn't seem right either. And I am working with end of the day brain, which has its own challenges. Okay, cool. I think it's good now. Let's try it. Where would you click to replace plum tomato with another ingredient? I'm gonna click here, confirm it. How confident are you that your click will let you replace plum tomato with another ingredient? I'm personally highly confident. And now I can actually go in and delete that answer. I'll show you. So if we look at results, there are 2 results, and one. Nice. So we've got two different responses: a bell pepper one and plum tomato one. So I can definitely. Where do I see both of these things? I haven't done this click one in a while, so I'm just taking a minute to like orient myself. Usually I'm doing more preference test. Okay. How do I see? I'm trying to look for a place where I can remove one of the results, and I thought I can do that somewhere. Results, share. Let's see what happens when I do this. Link active. Is this literally? Now there are 3 results. Export as CSV. I don't get it. Here it is, participants. This is where I can, so I think there's one that just came in. This looks like me because it was 2 minutes ago. And I think this is where I can nope, I don't see it. I guess maybe they don't have that same functionality here. Anyways, it's besides the point. I don't need to delete that. You saw how I can see the... I can see everything. All right. I'll ask Usability Hub later because I'm pretty sure I've done that in the past, but maybe I'm misremembering. Anyways, that's one test down. So basically, I need to do the same thing with the 2 other images, right? So let me do that really quick. I think there's this actually variation set that you can use. Variation set lets you split test your designs by ensuring participants are unique across each test. Works with, yeah, so this is actually the one. Where to click to swap plum tomato. So I can choose this test, I can add. Now I think I can duplicate, yeah. How to swap ingredients to. Do you want the test to be added as a new variation? Yes, make it a variation. I think this is what I want to do. And then here's where I can add my second image. Download. I should have named these designs better so I can track them. That's another thing. If you name your designs like option A, option B, option C, it's a lot easier to manage them. So I didn't do that in my rush. But that would be a very smart thing to do. So continue. Okay. And now okay, and I'm gonna copy this again. How to swap ingredients 3. Okay, and then I just need to swap out the image. Is it gonna remember now? Yes. Cool, here's my last, oh, you know what? I forgot to make that other one high. I forgot to make the other one high DPI. So let me do that. I'm gonna have to go back and fix that one. Okay, let me go in here. Build. And high DPI. There we go. Saving continue. Okay, now I think what's going to happen, if I remember how this variations works, let's check it out. So I've got this to ensure all participants where to click. So preview. So I get this one, and then let's say I reload. I'm thinking it's going to show me a different design. Yep. And then I reload. So basically you can randomly, this is faster than what I was going to do, because then you just have one link. So I think this is the way to go. It's going to randomly show people an image. So my data is going to be a little bit off for this one. I'd really have to go in and like remove all those responses to be fresh. Why do these ones say ready for recruitment? Let's see, recruit. Yeah, I don't need to set up a link. I think what I can do is, yeah, this is a variation set, ready. Okay, recruit participants. And now what I can do is, oh, interesting. Can I not recruit Usability Hub folks? I actually want to recruit Usability Hub folks. I want to see if this is the same link too. It looks like it's a different link. So if anyone wants to try that link out, you are welcome to. I've already taken this test. I can only participate once. All right. Interesting. So actually, I'm torn now. If you have a group of people you can email, you know, like you have a group, like a Slack group, or you have, maybe you're a student and you have classmates, or you just have a bunch of friends and family members you think would help you out. Those would be great to use this this kind of variant test. I didn't realize that I won't be able to use my credits and use Usability Hub's panel, which is really the fastest thing. So if you prefer to use Usability Hub's panel, it looks like creating a single test and duplicating it is the way to go. Yeah, I'll have to look into the details. I don't have the answers for that. There may be a way, maybe if you set up the variant test at the beginning, you can use Usability Hub. Maybe it's because I started recruiting my own participants that's how it forced me in. Anyways, one test up. Yeah, let's jump back over and answer Vinegar's question. So the question was, talking about wanting to have an apples to apples comparison with no confounding variables, right? That's why I removed nutritional information from one of the designs, because the other two design concepts didn't have nutritional information, and I didn't want that influencing any decisions as I'm going through and creating these tests. Then said, hey, but wait a minute, Adam, you have these this iconography in this design, and you don't have that in these other ones. And my answer is, rather than a confounding variable in this case, it's actually a pattern that I'm testing. Like, I'm actually testing like icons and this button. Like, this is a pattern. This is the selection pattern. So I'm testing this selection pattern versus this selection pattern versus this selection pattern. So all the information is effectively the same. I am trying to test, do icons help people find things more quickly? I'm trying to look for differences among those things. So we'll also be able to get into preference tests. If I had one with photos, I'd do that as well. So hopefully that answers your question, Vanigu. It's really about, when you think about the apples, like what is the apple? In this case, it's what do you click on to change the ingredient? All right, so we did test 1. Let's experiment with test 2. Let's try making a variation test. I'm going to see if I can use the Usability Hub. So which concept do people want to use and why? Because remember, this is about engagement. So something that people are more interested to use and try out should be better for engagement. So let's flip back over. And can I create a variation set with a new test? This is going to be ingredient swap preference test. Oh, it said something about, I just noticed, it says both audience and Usability Hub panelists. So that's interesting. So it does say that. So maybe I was missing something with the other test. Anyways. Ingredient swap preference test. 1. Project. Design contest. Desktop only. Did I pick desktop only for the other ones? I duplicated, so it should be good. And I'm going to use the preference test. Can I have 3? Actually, I don't need variations. Let me cancel this. Let's see what happens. I'm going to delete this. There's no sense in doing a variation test because I can have multiple images for the preference test. So I'm just going to go through and make a standard preference test. Hey, Ralph, good to see you. How are you doing? Ingredient swap preference test. Okay. Design contest, desktop only, preference test. Which interactive recipe design do you prefer to use? And here's what I'm going to add in my files. Awesome. I'm glad that was clear. Makes sense. It's a good question. All right. So I've got my different images in here, and then the short question in this case for preference test, I always like to just ask a question. Why did you choose that one? And again, I usually don't require it, and I still get answers for most of them. Short text is fine. Hide show this question with logic conditions. What is this? Show this question if interesting. All right, Usability Hub is including new and powerful features. That's great. We don't need it in this case. So let's go ahead and save and continue. I'm going to go ahead and set up the link so I can post it in chat. Ooh. At least I think I'm going to. Oh, and I totally forgot to, I forgot to flip over my screen. Apologies. I've just been zipping through the Usability Hub. And I'm going to post it in chat. Feel welcome to go ahead and use it. I'm going to go ahead and take the test right now really quick to test it out. Which interactive recipe design do I prefer to use? Boom, boom, boom. I'm just going to be, I'm going to pick this one. I'm just going to add my name in, then it's easy for me to get the data out. This looks most accessible and familiar. Okay, great. So I'm gonna see at least one result in there. Participants. Huh. I really thought it. I think what I'm thinking about is filtering out responses. And that's what I'm misremembering as the ability to remove the data. Because I don't think there's any way to do that. It's filters. All right, so we've got our two tests. And then what I can do, for example, this one, I can grab some Usability Hub folks, and I like doing an odd number. I see if I go over the number of credits I have, then I have to buy, it's $1 per credit. That's not cheap. All right, let's get 5. English, desktop, yeah, looks fine. I try to keep things broad. I don't think we need anything special for this. Oh, kind of external panels. Your account is not eligible to use external panel. Okay. I'm curious to learn more about that later though. So let's do this. Great. And let me see if I can find a way to do that for my why doesn't it? I'm gonna click on this. I'm gonna go into a test real quick and I'm gonna look at recruiting and see what happens. This test is one variation in the set, view all variations. Now that I've clicked on the panel, let me, both your audience are unique. Okay, so now will let me do, still doesn't let me. All right, let's not get hung up on that. That's not critical to what we want to do. We've got our test going. Let's pop back over here, because in the next bit of time, we're talking about engagement and interest. So I think having some prototypes would be really great. So prototype, here's one prototype. Let me actually go back to my tests. Let me grab these as well. I'm probably only going to have time to make one prototype realistically, but let's just have these in case I find more time. So I updated the component recently. Beginning, God, this is probably my biggest pet peeve is selecting things in Figma. I want to select, for example, I want to select this instance, right? I have to either click 3 times, or if I use command click, right, I'll go inside it and then oh, that time I didn't. All right, I want to command click Oh, if you have a container, like this kind of situation where I'm going, oh, why is this not? I don't know how to set up in a good situation here. Okay, there we go. So screen 1, screen 2 will be hover, I guess, right? So let's maybe do something more well, yeah, let's just do this. This is easy. We're just prototyping, so let's do something easy. We have this as hover, and then we kind of need an active state. Hover and you click it, and then you see these things, and then you're gonna hover over one of these. Let's just have it be, it'll be to pick this rye one. Let's say Wasa Thins rye, Wasa Thins. So okay, it'll be this one. And I'm just gonna use overrides. And how much stroke is here? 4. Okay, that's going to be the hover, and then once we click, it's going to go to this, and it's going to be updated. It's going to say Wasa Thins Rye. There we go. All right, we've got everything for the prototype. Now we can move into prototype mode. And we're going to say on hover. Where's all my stuff? What's going on? Select a frame or object. I did this just the other day with something else. Why? Show prototype settings. Device none. What is going on here? Starting frame. Anyone have a clue? Ralph's asking, have I used Adobe XD ever since the time we did the voice thing? No. Well, yes. Yes, because there was a designer who had made a bunch of stuff in Adobe XD, and I was trying to do something with it. I haven't used it recently though, Ralph. How has it evolved? I know there were really big gaps the last time I used it. And now I'm just stuck again in Figma. What's going on? I see. I think my problem is these things aren't in frames. Again, like Figma has this like frame thing. I haven't completely figured it out yet. I think that's my issue. So none of these are in frames. So I need to frame all of them. Okay, frame. I should practice my keyboard shortcuts. It seems to be the least popular, which is weird since it's Adobe. Yeah, that is funny. I think if you look outside or in different places where people are like heavy in the Adobe stack, it's probably got more usage. But for people like me, like as soon as I wasn't using Photoshop for doing UI design, I don't need to use it anymore, and kind of got off the Adobe stack. All right, now I think things are gonna work, but let's see. Yes, now I've got my frame. So this is gonna go over to this screen, and this is on hover. While hovering, navigate to frame 34, cool. Then I'm going to click and go to this screen, on click, navigate to yes. And then I suppose all these should be preserving preserve scroll position. Okay. And then from here, I want to hover, hovering, yes. And then I want to click, click. There we go, cool. So I've got this prototype. Let's test it out. Slow, slow, slow. There it is. All right, cool. So what just, oh, that was weird. I felt like maybe it just took a second for the image to load. So I can mouse over that and click this. Ta-da. Great. That felt fairly nice, right? And then I can go, I don't know. So there's no easy way to go back. I didn't create a go back to start, which I can do. I can just say click anywhere, right? Just have this frame. Go back here, on click. Great. Now I can hop over. Hover. Really, I could do the prototype more and have this one too, right? But we're keeping it simple. I guess the only thing that I'm missing are like active. Like when I click, I don't think Figma prototyping allows that though. What can I do on? Actually, I can't, I might be able to do a couple of things. I can give this an additional state. Oh, here's one of my big pet peeves. So in Figma, you have to have things set up like some certain way. I still haven't gotten the exact rules, but I can't create a shadow with just spread and blur for this, I guess, instance. I guess it doesn't work on instances. So let's see if I do. Ugh. It's killing me. What I want to do is have, I can't even like, I wish I can just like show it what I want to do. What I want to do is really easy with Sketch and is really like hit my head on the wall with Figma. You have to add like, you have to do really, to me, like really dumb stuff. I have to add a rectangle. What just happened? And then I'm grabbing stuff I don't want to grab. Just not fun. Just trying to figure out what I have this. I think I have it set to 8. What do I have it set to? Why don't I just click on the thing? I have it set to 8. Okay, cool. So this will be 8. And then there's this horrible, this is probably my biggest pet peeve about Figma is I try to maneuver things, I try to position things, and when you've got all these like auto layouts going on, like things just jump and it's so annoying. So basically I have to use keyboard. I can't use mouse to move things, otherwise it's gonna like get inside stuff, which I don't want. Okay, now magically, I can do this. Whoops. Inner shadow. 0, 0. Okay, so now I've got this. There we go. And then I can remove this fill. Nope, I can't remove the fill. Because if you remove the fill, there's nothing for the inner shadow to apply for. So I can use a stroke. Now maybe I can remove the fill. There we go. And you can't add different borders of different widths. I'm totally with you, Ralph. I think the whole frame concept is just like crazy annoying. Or maybe it's not the concept, maybe the paradigm, I just haven't wrapped my head around it yet, but the execution for the way that my brain thinks and the way that I have framing things, it's super annoying. So let's make this 7. And I'm actually pretty much out of time. So let's just wrap this up. The prototype, and basically why am I doing a prototype? Because with a prototype, I can do some usability testing. I can, look at this, it's like 1 pixel off. There may be like, I don't know what's going on. Why does it match up on this side and not the other? Because the width is not mapped to pixel grid, even though I set everything to pixel grid all the time. I don't know what's going on, and I can't do anything about it. This is my, that's not what I wanted to change. My Figma ranting. Okay, let's do that. Yeah, the prototyping is pretty nice, I have to admit. And then, okay, cool. So my prototype, I think, got a little bit better. Nope, hang on. Ugh. So how did that work? Let's get into the prototype mode. I click, it goes to this. While pressing, it doesn't let me change the element. Is that because I'm just overriding it? Maybe. All right, my whole effort was just, it looks like it's just wasted. Press. Oh, this is where I lose it. I guess, yeah, I'm just gonna take it out. It just is, it's more silly and distracting. Anyways, that's the kind of polish you don't really need to test. that much for this prototyping. All right, so as a recap, let's check out what we did. We took these 3 ideas here for concepts on swapping different recipes. We kept our goal in mind, right? Increasing engagement with this ingredient substitution. We created 2 tests on Usability Hub. One, a click test to see if people know where to click to change. Oh, and I already see a huge problem. I have cherry tomatoes everywhere else. I think this is where my cherry tomatoes thing came in. And so that's going to mess up my test. This is where the apples to apples is really important. Nothing like finding this right at the end. All right, so I need to export these things and fix my images in my test. I'll go update that. This is why it's super important to like go through and actually test everything. I didn't, right? For the interest of time, I just showed a few things. Let's replace these. And then let's go back to Usability Hub. Thanks, Vinegar. I hope it's helpful. Hopefully it's refreshing too to see like it's easy to make mistakes, and this is like maybe why it's so important to go through and test all the stuff before you send it out. Because imagine if I had paid, imagine if I had paid a bunch of money for participants for this test and I had the wrong thing. That would be frustrating. Okay, so this is 31. Okay. And once that's ready, I can save it. Nice. And I have one more image to swap out, and then we'll wrap it up. Field. Maybe we can check out to see if I got any responses from the other test before we go in. The other test is which one would you rather use. So fortunately, the error doesn't cause a problem for the other test that I paid for. Let's just go see. I'm expecting to probably have some responses. I only asked for 5 participants. Let's see what we've got. 4 out of 5 already. So I'm just curious. Let's just take a peek and see. Now, 5 responses is not going to be enough. You'll see that, let's see. These 2 are winning. Let's see, what did people say about this? Icon for ingredients gave me an idea what they should look like. More familiar design, easy to read the recipe, and fun. Okay, and how about people who chose this one? I don't want to filter that. Here we go. This is sleek and easy to read. The one with sort of graphics is pointless and annoying to use. And the third one was ugly and hard to read. Interesting. It's quite a response. Nice. All right. So note, like, number of participants, too small. I need to get at least 10 for this to start having some kind of confidence around what's going on. But already I get some data is better than no data, right? If you can show that you've collected some data and use that to inform your decisions, that's going to be great. How do you explain the design decisions in your explorations? Does that mean, like, how did I decide what to make different here? Like, why did I pick the select menu versus this icon versus these big buttons? I'm not sure exactly if that's what you mean, or if you mean how do you explain the design decisions how do you evaluate them with the data? So a few things that I'll look for again in the data is like time. I think I have that. Do I have time here somewhere? "13 seconds." 13 seconds, 46 seconds. So to me, this one's a little bit stronger, this average time. There may be some outlier. It's hard to tell. I don't think I get time for the other ones. But then the kinds of things that people say are going to be important. Something that talks about fun. In terms of this, I'm really just, honestly, I'm just strapped on time. And so for my specific exploration, I did something that's really simple and easy. And this was simple and easy for me. Are these the strongest ideas? Are these the ideas I think are best and are potentially like contest winning ideas? No, no, I don't really. This one's actually very familiar and kind of not a bad one to test. This one I think is too similar to the existing design to be really different. Again, things that I mentioned are like photos and, oops, I keep forgetting to switch back. Right, I've got these different ideas, and these were really quick and easy for me to test. And yeah, that was largely guiding my decisions, right? Resources and time definitely plays a factor, right? If we have to try to go with an experiment quickly and get some data, it's better to have some ideas versus some of my, let's see, if I go back to my whiteboard, we can look at some of the other things I had, like more photos, like icons, inlining, right? Like pick this one, this one, this one. There's some really interesting things going on around here. There's this one, which is, it's hard because it's all repetitive, but basically like a slider, like big image carousel type thing where you kind of like flip and switch the recipe, I think could be super fun. So I think there's some really simple like picture rows, right? There's definitely some ideas that take more time to explore that I think are even stronger. But the main point of these streams that I'm doing in support of the contest is more about process and helping people think about their testing. Like, what are the questions they need to be trying to get answers to, and how are they asking those questions? What kinds of tests are they using? What follow-up questions are they using? So I'm really focused more on process when it comes to this. And of course, just showing off like how quickly you can do something, right? Within an hour, I had these 3 fairly simple ideas. I set up tests for them. I created a simple prototype of one of the ideas that I could use for more usability testing and getting feedback on how those interactions feel. So just also want to iterate that it doesn't take a whole lot of time. If you set time boxes and you set specific goals, like you can get a lot done in a fairly short amount of time. And with that, I think it's time to say goodnight to everybody. And a quick pitch again for the contest, right? Still got like a week. Tons of time to do something like 10x more amazing than what I've done. I will do my best to try to get out a Figma file this weekend that has some like pages set up and maybe like a case study kind of template that might be helpful for folks. Otherwise, using whatever tools work best for you, Google Doc, upload it, do a custom thing for your website, use tools like Notion or Coda or even Figma to build your case study, whatever works. Super excited to see what kinds of ideas people come up with. And I realized I did that without fading in. Now we see it. Yep, so let's call it a day. Tomorrow's Friday. It's almost the weekend, so happy Friday for those of us who aren't already in Friday in the world, and have a fantastic weekend. I think I'll try to get on Tuesday or Thursday next week for a stream, trying to get consistent. It's been really challenging to make it work, but thanks again. Thanks, Ralph and Menagu. It's always great to see you. Great questions. Love the discussion. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye, everyone.